joining us today. Uh, as you know, we are here to hear pitches for five participants at the starter program of our eighth cohort. We're all really excited. We have a great panel of people who've come on board to listen to your ideas and give feedback, but also really engage with what is it that you're trying to do with your community. Our time today, what that's going to look like is. Second. We're going to go into a quick recap of the starter program, have a sense of what really happened in the past 5-6 weeks. What is it that we were focusing on? What is it that we were all trying to build as a community? And then we're going to listen to the pitches that Khushi, Kausar, Rashad, Nausheen, and Nimisha will be presenting from the eighth cohort. Very quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our panelists who have very graciously come on board and will be listening to your ideas. We have Prem Sagar with us. Prem is the Vice President of CSR at Kotak Mahindra Bank. He leads national initiatives that are focused on education, healthcare, and community development. We have Samir with us. Samir is the Vice Principal at Shivnadar School. He spearheads curriculum innovation and teacher development. We have Carolyn Paul with us. She is the City Director at Teach for India, Mumbai. And she leads a network of educators and partners. And then last but not the least, we have Shruti with us. Shruti is a circle entrepreneur from the cohort of 2023. And she is the CEO of Kamal Vidya Niketan, school under the Kathiwara Foundation. Again, panelists, thank you so much for joining us. Very excited to have you on board. And today in the audience, we have some of our eighth cohort members, but I believe we also have people who will be joining us in the ninth cohort when we begin the program towards October ends. So I hope this really inspires you and gives you ideas around what is it that you can hope from the program. And again, thank you, everyone. I'm just going to quickly jump into my presentation. Okay. Second. Great. So as we know, I'm just going to quickly talk a little bit about what we did during this cohort of the startup program, and also talk a little bit about some numbers that are standing out when we are thinking about our cohort. Very simply, to anyone who is new here to the concept of the startup program, at the circle, we believe that schools are truly the microcosms of the community and the society that we are hoping to envision and build for a more just and a country that is filled with love, that is filled with justice, that is filled with equity. And the startup program is a way to really expose people who are educators, innovators, entrepreneurs to what does it mean to think of a different design of a school, a different design of a learning space. So we really hope that throughout the year, every 6 weeks, we are able to engage with a cohort that can really dip their feet into what it means to innovate for children in their community. And we hope that they can design pilots and solutions for children in their community that they can execute and see how that works, whether it is what children really deserve, whether it is significantly changing the life and learning outcomes for children in their community or not. We started towards August end. We had about 6 learning sessions and 2 small group sessions. And we started from a place of understanding and orienting ourselves in the 10 leaps that Transcend Education provides us. Those leaps actually help us understand that what does it mean to create a learning space that is equitable when you think about the 21st century, and what is it that we need to move away from to envision a very different future of schools. Then we moved on to a session on understanding the education crisis in India, the problems of inequity with Sandeep. And we got a sense of looking at schools and learning poverty as something that's actually that's a gap that can affect you for an entire lifespan. And what is it that we need to do to make sure that children who do not have the economic means to access schools that are costly, how can we make sure that they are people we solve for? And then we moved into a session with Akanksha. We moved on with a session on kids education revolution, was facilitating a session um, around what does it mean to design with student. And we had a very fun panel of young people join us and talk about what is it that they would really want in schools, what is it that supports them, what is it that makes learning fun and valuable for them. Then we moved on to a session facilitated by Akanksha from Project Fuel, which was called Futuring. Now that we have looked at the past, now that we have understood what is the problem in the present, as and when we think about inequity, Akanksha took us through a session to talk about futuring. What does it mean to think of a world that is far ahead of us, and how can we make sure that we carry our present and some important things about our past to the future when we're thinking of designing for children. Then we moved on to sessions with Simran, who took us through design thinking and prototyping, and what does it mean to have user-centric design, especially when it comes to schools. And we ended the session with Arshia leading us through a storytelling workshop where you understood that if you are someone who is pitching, if you are someone who is designing a pilot, how important it is to effectively communicate your stories and really tell people in the world what is the context you're coming from and why the solution you're creating matters the most. And hopefully, we'll see all of that coming together in the pitches that 5 of our participants are going to present for us. I'm just going to put on some highlights for the cohort this time, because as you know, with all our starter program cohorts, we hope that some people can meet in person for city dinners. And these are some glimpses from Pune, Mumbai, and Bangalore. We hope that this becomes a chance and an avenue for you to create community and hopefully keep working even beyond the starter program. Here are some cohort highlights that I think are really going to stay with us. We started with a cohort of 60 people, 60 participants who were learning with us throughout the program. And then we had 15 participants submit their pitches to us. So there were 15 micro innovations that were deeply thought about, that were deeply, that took in a lot of investment, time, and also love for our participants to create. And they submitted it to us. And we selected 5 pitches out of those. Having said that, we were really every year, this is a very difficult decision for us to make, but we are very glad that there are people who are really consciously thinking about their community. And as we hear from these 5 pitches, please make sure that you reach out to us for any conversations, and we will keep in touch with you for your projects even beyond the program. So thank you again for all the participants for engaging with the learning, sending in your micro innovations. And I think now we're coming to the part we're all going to hear pitches. I think we're starting with Khushi. A few norms for today's session. We'll hear from participants for their presentation for 5 minutes. Then we'll hand it over to the panelists to ask any follow-up question for 5 minutes again. And then we'll have a 1-minute transition time for the next participant and next presenter to set up. And then we'll move on to the next presenter. If anyone in the attendees and audience also has a question for the person who's pitching, feel free to put that in the chat. And if we can accommodate that in the time, we will do it. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Before we begin, if there are any questions from participants, feel free to just surface them and we'll address it for you. And I guess we are starting with Khushi. Khushi, please set up, take a few seconds to set up, and then we'll begin.
Yes. Thank you.
Khushi, if you can also have a personal timer for 5 minutes, that would be helpful. Okay, and I will just I'll just nudge you when you are closer to ending. Yeah? Okay, Awesome. Whenever you're ready.
You see my screen and can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Yes to
Okay.
both.
Okay. So imagine you're standing behind a teacher's desk in a classroom with four walls and two windows. And in front of you, there are 76 students running, falling, fighting, talking, laughing. And you are responsible to teach them something of value today. This was my story 3 years ago. I am Khushi. And when I entered my classroom of 76, I was overwhelmed. And before I tell you that story, I have a question for all of you. What is something you wish you were taught in school so it would have prepared you for the toughest challenge in your life? When I ask this question to adults, they usually tell me something like standing up for myself, grieving the loss of a loved one, managing my relationships, managing my anger better, being communicating better at workplace. And those are some gaps in our education system that we at Sujhav are trying to address. And we think that one way to do it is through social emotional learning. I'll tell you how. But we'll go back to my classroom where I was really overwhelmed. I felt like walking out. I felt like shouting. I felt like crying. And none of those responses were appropriate for my classroom. None of those responses were good for my students. And I started noticing that my students were going through something similar. Huzaif would often raise his hand and say, Didi, मेरा सर दर्द हो रहा है, मैं घूमने जाऊं बाहर. Mana would tell me, Didi, बोर हो गया. Ikra would ask me, Didi, आप इनको डांटती क्यों नहीं हो? ये ऐसे थोड़ी मानेंगे. And I realized that their lack of being able to manage their emotions is hindering their learning. It's coming in the way of what a classroom can do for them. So I approached a fellow in my city, Astrid, who has a background in psychology, and together we started working on how might we make social emotional learning possible for our classroom so that our students lead a fulfilling life and become empathetic leaders. We realized we weren't alone. There were so many educators who were trying to do the same for their classroom. They wanted to conduct SEL but did not know how to. And when we asked them what would help, most of them told us that creating tools and resources would. So we gathered a team of 7 student leaders, 2 more fellows, and we started doing our research, designing resources, getting feedback, redesigning resources. And the result was that our students got a chance to explore their emotions and build self awareness. They started opening up to their teachers, transforming the student teacher relationship as we know it. And safe spaces were created in the classrooms where students knew that conversations that are actually relevant to them were happening, which led to an increase in attendance and engagement in multiple classrooms. In 2 years, we were able to impact more than 160 educators and work with over 8,800 students. And this month, we are launching our very first website, suljav.com, where we are making these resources available for free for educators across the country. We're also designing more resources to add to this website. We believe that creating tools and resources for educators will build social emotional learning, transform the student teacher relationship, and also build the skills that make empathetic leaders out of our students. Now, going back to the classroom, imagine you are surrounded by these students. And imagine you have an app that you can talk to. You can tell the app about the breakdowns that you are witnessing in the classroom, and it will ask you a bunch of questions. On the basis of your answers, it will map you to a needs assessment that you can then assign to your students or conduct with your students. On the basis of the scores collected through these assessments, the app will give you suggestions in the form of classroom structures, behavior management techniques, and social emotional learning resources that can be conducted in the class. What it would lead to is transforming the relationship between the student and teacher, because the students will have a place where they feel seen and heard. It will help address and reduce breakdowns in the class, and develop skills that are essential for leadership and a fulfilling life. What we are seeking is a grant of rupees 1 lakh to start the development of the basic version of this app, which would take around 4 to 6 months, and a network of people who have the experience to help us create more resources for social emotional learning and design the suggestions with classroom structures and behavior management techniques. In if we are when we start building this app, after that we are planning to raise more money so that we can incorporate the feedback we get from our users, design more features for our students, make better UI and UX, and integrate AI to make all of these suggestions individually tailored to students and teachers. Um, and at Sulja, we welcome questions. So would love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Kushi. We can move on to questions from the panelists.
Yeah, I can share. I had a question in mind. Thank you, Kushi. I was wondering, given that we have so many AI-based tools online already, can you share a little bit about how this one is going to be different from what already exists?
Right.
Right?
Right. So the AI tools that we have are not specifically tailored to help an educator or a child to address classroom breakdowns or build SEL specifically. So what we're trying to do with the app is we are giving a space for the educator to tell that this is the problem I'm facing. My attendance is really low, or my children are bullying each other. Those, or my there's this specific child in my classroom and he's having very violent breakdowns. And then we have a series of questions that the app asks us, and then it'll also map us to a need assessment, which we are curating from those that already exist and creating some from scratch. So these needs assessment would let me understand what is the activity I can conduct with the child or with my classroom that will help me address this exact need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kushi. Um, I'll build on what Caroline already said. I think one is that UNESCO has its own resources. Every university offer resources. And there are local organizations like, I think, Apni Shala and Bhumi have also worked on some part of curating the content around SEL. So how does your solution differ? Or are you using some intelligence from the resources which are already existing to build on? Or you're creating your own classroom scenarios to sort of give solutions? How's that working out? How's that interface working?
Right. So we are using what is already available for as free to use resources. We're also hopefully looking at future partnerships where we can get more of these resources on board. The resources that we are creating so far are different in the sense that most of social emotional learning happens through circle time or reflection activities. We have designed activities where children are able to use their hands and are interacting with media and building those skills with them. Um, Second part of the question, I think the app is meant to address breakdowns first, and then based on what the teacher themselves are seeing, because we understand that the way the educator understands the classroom, you cannot we will not be able to intervene again and again and again as an organization or as people. So we want to make this tool independent of other people so that the educator can regularly interact with the app and get solutions as and when required in the classroom.
If I can build on this same question, the app is using a context in which schools exist. Are this is addressing, is it a universal app, any schools, any socioeconomic background, or is it catering it to low income government schools or low income community schools or learning centers? Because the scenario, the context
Yeah.
decides the action, the context really.
Yes. Yes, so that's why I said that there are two versions. So in the basic version, we'll have to provide the context from our side. So we will be giving problem prompts that these are the problems that you might be facing in the classroom, and the teacher can choose from it. When we are able to build the app that is the full-fledged model, which does integrate AI, then the hope is to make it accessible to all contexts, all educators, for all classrooms.
Okay.
Hi, Kushi. Thank you for sharing about Suljab. I just wanted to ask you two questions. One is like, what is your target audience? I believe you answered that a little bit. And then what language will this be in if the idea is to reach to schools everywhere?
Right. So the language is going to be English and Hindi in the basic model, and then we want to be able to work with more educators and translate the app and make it available in different languages. And the target audience is again, so we did think of our extreme users, and the target audience is all educators. So we're starting with government school teachers, fellows, and educators who are working and volunteering in government school classrooms, and then teachers and educators who are in private school classrooms as well, eventually.
So,
Hi, Kashim. So, very interesting idea. I had a couple of questions that are slightly related. One is, it sounds like what you're designing is a prompt engine that responds to the prompt, that looks at the responses of the teachers to the prompt and gives us a suggestion. Does the app incorporate some sort of feedback mechanism where the teachers let you know whether your suggestions worked out or not, so that the app can learn whether the suggestions it gave worked out? And secondly, what do you think of as the outcomes for the app are? So what does the scenario look like if things went right versus what does the scenario look like if things went wrong?
Right. So again, with the static model, we won't be able to incorporate feedback, which is why we will be taking feedback from the teachers and then working on the next model. But the full-fledged model is individualized to each teacher, which means that if the app is giving a suggestion which I as an educator feel will not work in my classroom, I can talk to the AI model and I can discuss this, that okay, this will not work, so how might I try, or what is something else that I can try. So yes, we do plan to incorporate feedback. The second question was, can you please repeat that?
So I just wanted to get a sense of what do you imagine successful execution of the app looks like versus unsuccessful execution of the app looks like.
Yes, so success would in this case would look like that teachers will have more and more behavior management techniques and SEL resources that they are practicing in the classroom. So we will see an increase in ownership for students in learning, and we'll see safer classrooms with the problem statement that I addressed in the beginning, the skills that are actually required to lead a fulfilling life, these skills being built in the classroom. And what if it doesn't work, what it would look like is that even though we are providing resources, they're not being implemented in the classroom, and we're not getting as much feedback from from the teachers if they are implementing this or if it is making a difference in the classroom as well.
Great, excellent, thank you. And sorry, one just finish off. Is there any point in this entire instance where the students' feedback is collected, or is it just the teachers' feedback?
Right. So students are being mapped to a needs assessment, and our idea is that the needs assessment will be taken again and again after 6 months interval or 4 months interval, so that we know if they're progressing on those needs or not.
Hey,
Okay,
thank
great,
you,
thank you.
Khushi. Thank you, everyone, for your
Thank you.
questions. We'll take about a minute for the panelists to submit their responses, and Kausar, you can set up. Thanks, Khushi.
Thank you so much.
Hey, panelists, whenever you're done, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Thanks, Carolyn. Thanks, Shruti. Prem and Samir, let us know when you're done.
We're just working on it. Just give us
Okay.
1 or 2 more minutes.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I'm typing on my phone. It'll just take a minute.
No worries, no worries.
Amina, is my screen visible?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Prem.
Good for me.
Thank you, Samir. All right, Kausar, take us out.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Kausar Rizvi. A little bit about me. I'm from a village called Chishod in Ladakh. And I'm a project manager and faculty at Imamia Mission School, which is in our village. And up till now, I've worked on projects like mental health programs, spoken English classes, and also designed a curriculum for my students on climate change. This is a bit about my school. Imamia Mission School was established in 1982 by my father with the help of few elders of our village. And what started as a trickle of 20 students and 2 teachers is now a boarding school of 400 plus students with 30 teachers. With a vision to bring quality education in this remote village. So there are a few pictures from 1980s and few pictures you can see from 2024. Well, so the problem statement comes from my observation and interaction with my students, and I'm sure that many of you can relate to my students. So I did a survey on 150 students of grade 6 to 10 and asked them few questions. So the result was that half of our students from grade 6 to 10, they struggle to stay engaged in a theoretical class and almost learn very less. And in contrast, the same students, they feel quite engaged and are able to learn a lot in an activity-based class. And second statement comes from my observation of classrooms. I realize that activity-based learning is not sufficiently and widely implemented, especially in our science classrooms. Then the next statement comes from, again from my interaction with the students, where I found that 80% of our students from grade 6 to 10 lack knowledge about traditional and modern agriculture. Now, coming up to the solution. So what exactly we are doing as a part of solution is designing something called agriculture lab. So physically as a structure, agriculture lab is actually a greenhouse. As we all know, greenhouse is used in cold places to grow vegetables and fruits when the outside temperature is not good in harsh winters. So we're designing a greenhouse which is partially permanent structure of stone and mud, and other part of the structure is polycarbonate sheets and iron rods. And imagine studying agriculture in this kind of a classroom rather than a typical chair table classroom with a whiteboard. So what exactly will happen in this lab is, first the students will explore the already existing agriculture chapters in their curriculum practically, and they'll also benefit from experts and farmers that the school will invite to give them practical sessions and lessons. So, and also every grade, each grade from grade 6 to 10 will be given a dedicated flower bed where they can grow one vegetable and observe the entire process from seeding to irrigation to harvesting. And later on, the students will learn drip irrigation, hydroponics, etc. As advanced techniques. So as an impact, I can summarize it as connection between theory and practical, and increasing the engagement of students with better learning experiences. The students will be able to connect better with the food they eat and foster a deeper connection. Also collaboration, because all this will come up as a teamwork and ownership when they'll take care of the plants by themselves. Also, an interesting outcome would be that our hostel students will have an access of fresh vegetables in winters and spring when we have a very deep crisis of fresh vegetables. And it will also motivate students towards agribusiness. So how we'll measure this impact is pre and post survey of the students will have practical and written assessments, parent feedback. Also, as I told you, there will be a dedicated flower bed for every grade. So we'll have harvest measurement, and we'll also track in long term the interest of the students in agriculture as a subject and career option. We have chosen Dr. Anwar Hussain, who's a junior scientist at Sher Kashmir University of Agriculture Sciences, also an alumni of our school, as a mentor for this project, and we are in discussion with many other organizations. A part of this project is also supported by the horticulture department. They'll provide us with some things. So our ask for this project from the panel would be to of rupees 1 lakh. 50,000 will be used to repair the permanent structure part of greenhouse, and remaining with will buy motor and other equipments used. Also some network expertise for this. And I would like to end the entire thing with what NEP 2020 recommends: agriculture education to be included as early as in middle school. So together, let us make us our learning happier and engaging, and connect our children with our primary root, that is the soil. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kausar. Thank you for that. We're open for questions. Sorry.
I'll go first. Great for Kausar. I think you're literally trying to hit two birds with one stone. So I think wanted to check with you, what's the size of the cohort engaged in the proposed solution? Are you doing it from grade 6 to 10th? And what is the class size of each grade?
Sir, on an average, every class has 30 students.
So you're looking at grade 6 to 10. So about 150 students engaged in this project.
Yes, yes, directly engaged.
So have you looked at the existing models like the SECMOL model, the famous SECMOL model, Students' Education and Cultural Movement of Ladakh?
Yes, sir.
So what were your key lessons from there, which you are trying to integrate in your project?
Yes, so the two key lessons that I got from our visits and our students' field visit to Sikmol was, firstly, building the structure with more and more eco-friendly. So that's why we used stone and mud as inspired from Sikmol. Also, they not only teach agriculture chapters in that greenhouse, they also teach math to younger children, like measurement, measuring the vegetables, doing all the measurement and weighing inside the measuring the length of the plant. So I feel from Sigmol what we can understand is integration of basic maths with in the lab, and in enhancing the usage of the lab to other subjects, especially when for the younger students.
And what are the possible two key challenges you've identified yourself in implementing this project?
One of the key challenges would be, of course, how much our teacher will be able to, take it forward. Though we are taking some expertise support and from other organizations as well, and that would be one major thing, I would say, sir. And yes, that is the one major thing. Most of the things we have worked on, and yes.
Thank you.
I'll go next. Thank you, Kausar. I have two questions. I'll ask the first one first. Why did you choose agriculture labs as an answer to the problem that students were not able to sit for theory lessons? Something that you wrote in
Uh, yes, ma'am.
right?
So basically, when you talk about activity-based learning, it is quite broad. So as a micro innovation, I thought to choose something specific, but it was not done much, and it was also catering to many other life skills like connecting with our food and our soil, and something that we are slowly losing as a student. And many other activities are being done in our school in science lab, but this is one thing that was missing. And in terms of activities, especially with the agriculture, and it was catering to a lot of other life skills and lot of other things that the students can learn from it. That's why.
Got it. Just one follow-up. Have you ever designed any interdisciplinary programs for your school or executed them in your school where different disciplines are coming together?
Yes, ma'am. The climate change program, the classes that we conduct here, majorly we connect for like class 10th, we teach them circular economy, where we connect entrepreneurship with environment sensitivity, where the students learn to design business model based on environment sensitivity. Like that, we also try to connect a lot of chapters of science and social science together. Thank you.
Carolyn Freeman. Yeah, go.
Yeah. Hi, Kausar. A really interesting idea.
Thank you.
Couple of questions I had about it. One is you mentioned that you are looking at this as a way to give students who are interested in agribusiness an exposure to the area. Could you talk about that a little more? How are you planning to structure it? How will the students take responsibility and how will they be rewarded for putting in the work?
Yes, sir. So basically, what we have observed is that as our community and our Ladakh is moving more towards tourism-based economy, agriculture is slowly taking a backseat, which is not really a good thing because tourism is quite volatile. So that impact is also seen in our students, the current generation. So once we are exposing them to this lab and activities, like they are taking care of, like I said, every grade will take care of a flower bed, and they will do the entire part from seeding to harvesting and also enjoy their harvest, so that they will get an idea of how things are done, and will also through experts give them exposure of the opportunities that agribusiness and organic farming is slowly getting up, which is actually there's a lot of lack of awareness that even there are degrees like MBA and agribusiness, students don't know much about it. So through the experts and activities, first we are giving them a taste of it, and then later on, also tracking it. And I did not mention in it that from next year we are offering agriculture science as an elective for subject for grade 10, so where they will also be able to explore it much deeper using the agri lab as well.
Interesting. And does your model include a way to reward students who take ownership of the field, who put in more effort, who are trying to, use this as an opportunity to learn how to grow and how to maybe sell the plants in the community? Or is it a community project where all the students are equally involved?
Uh,
It's run by the
Sir,
teacher.
yes, sir, we are planning to do that. Like in the climate change program, the in the end, student present in exhibition and they sell things if they have made like they upcycle things and make. So we are planning that if we have a good harvest, then we can also put up an exhibition. Basically, the assessment would be more practical and project based. So one who does best, where the school will reward them. And I will also incorporate that idea because I had not yet done that of selling the produce and through this exhibition, where we can actually showcase what the students have grown to our parents, the community.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
just look up in Australia and UK. There is a whole movement around teaching young children growing their own food and what it teaches in life skills. So I think you may want to look at it contextually very different, but you may want to look at existing frameworks. As Prem mentioned, it's good to have that sort of vertical alignment. How do these skills progress? And there are existing models there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for the suggestion. I did look at some like Franklin School in US who have hydroponics in their classrooms, and so I will also look at the models mentioned by you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, my question was largely around the challenge that you shared around teacher support and training, right? That's where things usually break down. So, any solutions that you already have in mind towards a curriculum for students, but also how you're going to be working with teachers?
Yes, yes, ma'am. So for that, we chose a mentor. So there's this university called Sher-e Kashmir University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, and their research center is around 15 minutes drive from our school. So we chose our mentors from there who would help our teachers to understand how to take it forward practically with the students. So there is one more organization called GB Pant that again, Agriculture Research Institute. So through, with the help of different organizations, we are planning to, have this. And we have one mentor from that university, like, who will be all there all the time to support us. And for this, I'm not 100% being dependent on the teachers. We'll be inviting farmers and all who have been practically in this business there. So it will be a joint facilitation, not just 100% facilitated by the teachers.
Thank you, Kausar. Thank you, panelists. We just wait for you to send in your responses and we'll switch to Rashad. Thanks, Kausar.
Thank you.
Hi, Amina. Can I start sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen and we'll start
Am I,
in a bit.
is my voice audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Just give me a go when to start.
Yeah. We'll wait for a bit. You can just
Sure.
test screen share if you want. Just let us know whenever you're done and we'll start.
I'm ready.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Go ahead, Rashid.
Can we start?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Hi, everyone. We should kill all Jews, said Adolf Hitler. Actually, it was said by my grade 8 student. Welcome to the grim reality, where students from underprivileged backgrounds are pushed into more extreme viewpoints by their lack of exposure. My students having academic disinterest, extremist viewpoints, and great lack of life skills was a far greater conundrum I had faced than any flight delay or visa rejections. Is it just a me problem? I asked around in my fellow educators community, and I found out that a staggering 80% of the educators have witnessed extreme or concerning ideological views in their classroom. 71% have felt that the current existing curriculum does not effectively address the topic of diversity and inclusion. 80% of educators felt like there was a lack of perceived relevance between what is taught in class and real world application. 93% of educators felt like the current traditional classroom teaching is limiting a child's ability to learn and explore. 85% of educators felt the students were not quite well equipped with essential life skills. 83% of educators felt the current curriculum is not effectively addressing the need for inculcating life skills. I asked parents, and I realized these students were not just first generation learners, but they were first generation travelers as well. We had parents who had never gotten out of the community. And I realized that this could be the last generation of stereotypes, prejudices, and discrimination. This could be the last generation where we are hearing a response like this from one of our students. We came at the problem statement that the education system's reliance on rote learning and compartmentalizing subjects deepens academic disinterest, especially among students from underprivileged communities. With limited cultural exposure and practical skills, lethal stereotypes are reinforced, increasing the risk of systematic violence. This disconnection from meaningful learning erodes their sense of purpose, draining the empathy that could dismantle cycles of oppression and conflict. Now, I did not know how to solve this wicked problem. So when I was in doubt, I turned to the kid inside me. And the kid inside me said that, He wanted to learn about the judiciary not from the pages of the textbook. He wanted to go to the high court. He wanted to talk to the lawyers and the judges there. He wanted to learn about the ecosystem not from the pages of a guide. He wanted to sit in a national park where birds were chirping around him and then learn about the ecosystem. He wanted to learn about the Quit India movement, right where it happened, right where Gandhi said, Karo ya maro, and get goosebumps from it. And that's how we came to Project Circuit, where we try to make everyone travel educated. We have been successful in collaborating with a lot of organizations that share similar values with us. And we have been able to build something that focuses heavily on interdisciplinary learning, giving exposure to different communities, and also building experiential life skill learning. How do we do this? We travel to different destinations. In the last 6 months, we have traveled to more than 13 destinations. And we have been able to take the kids who said they wanted to kill Jews to students who said they wanted to file a PIL because they felt the Parsi community couldn't practice their religion fully because of the vulture population decline in Mumbai because of the ecological imbalance. We turned those kids into kids that said they did not want to be divided. We turned them into kids that said they did not want to discriminate. We were able to make the kids' average academic score jump up from 49 to 72, while the students who were learning the same things in a chalk and talk method could only make a jump of 4 marks. We tried to quantify the socio-emotional learning, and we found out the students in the circuit group were able to make a jump from 12 to 20 and 22 to 33 as compared to their counterparts. The students who said they should kill all Jews now were saying to me, hey, we all are one. Now, we realize that this deserves to spread. We need to go to our next destination as quick as possible. And we sketched out a roadmap. The roadmap for the next 4 months looks like we're going to have 2 trips in Mumbai and we're going to expand to Delhi. We're going to create a lesson plan template, which we are going to release to all the TFI cities. And we're going to have an exciting parents trip as well, and a project exhibition and report at the month of February. We're going to turn this from a BTCP into an after school and into a reimagined school. We are pleased to announce we have received the innovative funding grant from the Circle for the city of Mumbai. And right now, we're going to try to build the same project in Delhi. And for that, we need your support in bringing in more collaborations in Delhi and in designing more effective curriculum. We make a monetary ask of 61,000, of which 75% will be spent for the program cost, 41,000, with a very exciting 9,000 for parents trip, taking the parents who have never been on any trip with their students on their first trip. And then we're going to create a school that's going to travel from the snowy Kashmir to the green, lush Kerala. We're going to create a school that travels from the deserts of Rajasthan to the wettest place in Meghalaya. A school that travels to meet the Gond tribe in Madhya Pradesh to the economic capital in Mumbai. We're going to create a school without walls for a world without walls for children who were meant to fly. And we call it Travel Educated. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashad. I actually had 2 questions in my mind very quickly, which I'll ask. One is, how did you measure impact of this program, right? Like, what did you do to measure how much the kids were taking away? The second thing that I had in mind, as you think of scaling this up, what challenges do you foresee and how do you intend on solving for those?
Okay. So I'll take the first question. We took for every exam, for every destination that we go to, we do a pre-visit and then we create a pre-test to measure the baseline of the students. And then after the trip, we measure the same things and we try to see the jump. And for socio-emotional learning, we try to create questionnaires where we try to find out what are the perceived stereotypes and prejudices that the students carry about certain communities that they are going to be exposed in the next 2-3 days. And after the trip, we administer the same questionnaires. And along with that, we also implement some qualitative methods. We take student interviews and learning circles as well. As for your second question, the challenges that comes when expanding this, one is building a team with the same vision. That is our biggest challenge so far. We have a fellow from Delhi, Hafsa, who is really invested into the vision. So once that is done, then I think the biggest problem that we'll have is creating a very strong curriculum.
Thank you.
Rashid, I can go next. Interesting project. I've also done a travel-based startup in my entrepreneurial avatar for 5 years. So it's interesting to see the idea shaping up. So my understanding was that you also intend for parents to travel. Did I understand it correct?
Yes, yes. That is
Uh,
just for one trip. It's a one trip to build
and-
trust.
sorry, for one trip.
Yes.
So could you just briefly tell me how does the whole model work? And when you say one field trip, is it local field trip? Would it be national trip, whole field trip, like from Bombay to Delhi? How do you intend to do that?
Right. So for the parents trip, why we came up with the idea of a parents trip was parents were not really aware that travel could be used as an educational tool. So we wanted to take the parents with us on one of our Project Circuit trip to show them that travel can be an effective tool to teach and also to build trust. So that's about the parents trip. Now, how the this works is, so right now we have a lot of constraint to get permission from the students, from the parents, and from the school. So right now, what we are focusing on is trips inside the city. So right now we are working in Mumbai. So we are taking the kids on different destinations in and around Mumbai, which can be completed in one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in
But
that context, what is your target audience here? Is your target audience government schools, low-income schools, or you have a universal target audience? Anybody who's open to do this, you'll work with them.
for the next 6 months, it's going to be from low income private schools. And after that, we are going to transition this into an after school system. And hopefully, one day, a reimagined school where we'll have our own kids, which we'll do a national wide trip.
A lot of schools do that. If you go down Bangalore, a lot of schools use travel as a medium where children travel for a month and a half, basic, train travel across different cities and sort of they learn as they go. So the models exist, and this also has a potential of becoming a Robin Hood project, wherein from high income schools you can charge a certain amount, which can go towards education of. So I think just try to do it in phase one and phase two. Phase one could be intercity within the city. And then phase two is when you feel and have enough data to show the impact, move out to phase two, which can be between different cities. But I think just try to look at it from that prism. It's a
Sure.
good project, but I know finance could be a very big deterrent, and safety is another concerns when you travel with young adults.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi, I have a quick question. I want to understand what happens on the trip. So when you do take the students to a destination, what happens there?
Yeah, so I'll share about the trip that we had yesterday. So yesterday we took the kids to the Kohli community, the Worli Koliwada in Mumbai. So we do a pre-visit. We try to understand what are the challenges that is currently being faced by the community and everything. Then we try to create a match between whatever is in their curriculum and whatever is the challenges and the history and everything of the community. And then once we take the kids there, we teach them in a very interdisciplinary way. We teach them math, science, social, everything, and then we show them the relevance of how whatever that they are learning, how can it be implemented to benefit the community. And then we engage in history walks, heritage walks, and we try to show them whatever they learn can be of benefit to the community. So yesterday the trip that they did, now they are going to write a story about the Worli Koliwada, which is going to be published soon, hopefully.
Okay, thanks. One other question. So you mentioned that you want to expand this to Delhi as well, right?
Yes.
So what would the students not see in Bombay that they would get to see in Delhi?
With Delhi, we are trying a different audience. So in Mumbai, it
Okay.
is ninth graders. In Delhi, I want to try with a sixth graders or seventh grader. So yeah. And
Okay.
I feel like Delhi is a city with a lot of potential. There's like great places with, historical places, places we can leverage for science as well, and different communities as well. So yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Rashid. Very interesting idea. And I'm sure it would really appeal to my mother, who was a civics educator for 30 years and has wanted to do something like this several times. One thing I was wondering though is a lot of the relevance comes in, particularly in when you're talking about social science education. Is there other trips that you're looking at that are relevant to non-social sciences? Like, are there math-focused trips? Are there science-focused trips? And how do you see this fitting within the school's academic calendar? As in, how many trips in a year do you see reasonably doing with a school who signs on to this program with you?
So yes, there are all the trips carry an interdisciplinary lens. So we took the kids to the Bombay Stock Exchange, where we taught them about max, about compounding and how does compounding work and everything. For science also, we did, for example, the Worli Kolivada visit. We were focusing it on ocean acidification and the use of plastic and environmental degradation. For the Pasi community, the Dungawadi visit that we did, we were heavily focused on ecological damages that were being done. So for every trip, we try to have a lens of an interdisciplinary approach. Now about the number of trips, so right now we are able to do 2 trips per month, and this is because of the constraint of one, permissions from school, and also the team is quite small right now. So once that is done, when this transition into an after school, I'm looking for around 3 trips per month, or like Samir sir said, a 1.5 or a 2 month trip across 2-3 states.
So in one academic year, this would work out what, 18-20 trips or?
Yeah, if two trips per month, that would account around 20 to 25 trips easily.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what is the biggest challenge that you are facing? Is it access to funds, or is it resistance from parents? Is it learning to manage the children in the
I think it is the one is definitely the funds. The parents are completely on board with us because we have done around 13 destinations, and the parents are completely on board. They are seeing the changes in their students. One is building a very effective team, and also getting in a collaborations is also a little bit tricky at this point. And the second one is funds, because right now that without the lack of with the lack of the right collaborations, we are a little bit on the tighter side when it comes to funds. We also
Excellent.
wanted to take the girls on the trip, but from the school we got instruction that you can only take the girls if you were traveling in a more, using cabs and everything. So since we don't have the financial means for that, we could not take the girls. So right now it's just 15 boys.
Interesting. Thank you.
you, Rashid.
And I would just reiterate Samir's point that you should really explore a cross-subsidization model. That
Yeah.
would work really well with an approach like this.
And Rashid, I offer you my school. You can take my contact details. Come and contact me. I'll give you first 3 projects in Delhi.
Thank you so much, sir.
8 projects. You don't
Sure,
have to
sure.
do once. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Sameer. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, Rashid. And we'll just move on to Noshin now. Noshin, we'll start in a few seconds. You can set up.
Sure.
Prem, just let us know whenever you're done.
I'm done. I already submitted.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so
Well
much.
done.
Okay, Noshin, over to you.
Can I start?
Thank you. Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Just...
Meet little Noshin. Well, that's me. As a child, she transformed her living room into a classroom, eagerly teaching imaginary students. And this playful approach revealed a profound truth. Teaching is a two-way street. In my 6th grade English class, a bright spark named Safan proposed a game changer. What if we role play the characters from our story? That moment ignited creativity and transformed our classroom. I made him and transformed my classroom. I made him my co-teacher for that day. This initiative evolved into a mentorship system in my class, where students like Safan guide their peers, fostering confidence and reinforcing their own understanding. Imagine the possibilities when students teach each other. During my community visits to Shahi Alam in Ahmedabad, I met Amina, mother of Amir. Amir had dropped out, longing to learn but feeling trapped in a cycle of despair. He wanted to learn, but no one here ever finished school. She told me. This highlighted a painful reality, the absence of role models in education for our youth. The problem. Did you know that nearly 20% of children drop out after 8th grade in India, according to the recent ACER report? Why does this happen? Low-income communities often lack relatable role models and mentorship, which leads to high dropout rates and limited career opportunities. Children need someone to look up to, someone who can show them that finishing school is not only possible, but essential for the future. Let's look at the research. Multiple reports and research support this idea that positive role models, peer teaching, and social interaction are crucial for student engagement and retention, especially in low-income communities. And so the solution. This is where the Tomorrow's Teachers Fellowship comes in, a groundbreaking initiative designed to cultivate the next generation of leaders in education and empower young individuals as community educators. Over the course of 6 months, we'll target students aged 12 to 17 from low-income communities. Our goal is to equip them with teaching skills and leadership qualities that enable them to uplift their peers and inspire future generations. We have 3 phases of this program. Phase 1, training and bootcamp for 2 months. Phase 2, placements of fellows in school and community centers for 4 months. And phase 3 is community engagement that is throughout. Recruitment of young fellows. Imagine the proud look on a parent's face or a community member's reaction when they see a 12-year-old receiving their very first salary for contributing to education. The application process will mirror a real-world job search. Young fellows will not only gain valuable insights into what it takes to secure a job in real life, but will also receive a stipend. Through this program, they will acquire 21st century skills, foster a sense of responsibility, and be better prepared to tackle future challenges with confidence and professionalism. Now let's take a peek into the TTF fellowship and see how a student will experience this transformative journey.
I will get my first salary. I want to be role model for my community. I am very excited for the boot camp of TTF. I am very excited to become tomorrow's teacher. We are the teachers of tomorrow.
We have 3 hypotheses for this. 1, young individuals who participate in Tomorrow's Teacher Fellowship will demonstrate an increased interest in education and teaching as career. Younger students taught by fellows will show improved engagement and motivation in their learning, and the fellowship will contribute to sense of community ownership in education. We are asking for a funding of rupees 1 lakh rupees to turn this vision into reality, where 20,000 will go into program development, 20,000 in materials and supplies, and fellow stipends. 60,000 will allow us to give our young fellows in their first in-hand salary. This small monthly stipend is meaningful reward for their dedication and powerful way to show that belief in impact they will make. The observation assessment will measure program success and quality through pre and post program surveys, community involvement, matrix and long-term follow-ups, and ensure lasting impact. Our goal is not just to track progress, but to learn and adapt our approach continuously. As Aristotle said, teaching is the highest form of understanding. Now is our moment to transform this understanding into action. Together, we can shape a future where our children not only learn, but lead, where communities thrive through education and empowerment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nosheen. All right, questions?
I'll go first. Nosheen, what are the 3 possible challenges you've sort of anticipated for yourself?
The 3 possible challenges that we anticipated was that maintaining the fellow motivation. I think for 6 months to maintain that motivation is a challenge. I think we have decided to have mentorship, peer support systems, and stipend especially will help to sustain that motivation. Other challenges can be gaining community trust, that involving parents and local leaders from the start through community engagement phase, And third can be sustaining long-term impact. Regular assessments, I think follow-ups and adapting the program based on the feedback would help in that, in curbing that challenge. Yeah.
Have you reached out to already organization like, of course, your TFI is one, of course, you have a Kansha Foundation model. There are different models. Room to Read works on literacy. Have you reached out to any of the sort of organizations which are working in basic literacy and numeracy and sort of figure out what are the key learnings from there?
Sure. I'm a Teach for India Year 2 fellow.
Yes.
And I think this idea also seeds from there. But I've also thought about how we can actually transform this curriculum into a fellowship for young learners. How can I make kind of a curriculum where it can also increase the RC levels and the numeracy and literacy levels for these children?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I can go. I think very similar to the Fellows of the Future track that we run at Teach for India, where we train children. Our biggest learning there surely has been support for students who are a part of the program, right? Your fellows. How are you thinking through that, really?
Can you please repeat? I lost you. Sorry. There.
How are you thinking through support for your young fellows, right? Like kids who sign up for it. I'm understanding what they're going to be getting at the end of the, or like each month their stipend, but what does their ongoing support and development look like such that they do work that's of high quality, right?
Yes. Every student will have a mentor, like how we have program managers, where they will be mentored and continuously evaluated for their progress and how they are doing. I think that would support them in their overall learning. And also we'll have some educators and mentors that they can, who are going to provide those kind of workshops and training in the boot camp.
Thank you, Nosheen. And any specific competencies that you've put down that you would want to develop, and any thought there?
I think real life job search, like how it looks like to get a job at this age, how real life scenario is to how to be professional, also critical thinking. Teaching itself is a way to build leadership. So it's a very strong aspect of this project. Thank you.
Hi, Nosheen. Interesting project, and I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. One is, how much of a time commitment is the fellowship going to be for the students who are participating?
Time commitment, it's a part-time fellowship. I think we are going to take minimal time of the students. Also, we would like to integrate this fellowship into their overall learning process that's happening at school. We would like to integrate those periods into the school itself. Also, there will be some in the learning centers, they will be going out and teaching. So we would make sure that it's not hampering their own learning. And also we would like to utilize the holidays and the vacations that are there in the middle. Yeah.
But have you chalked out sort of a minimum time commitment expectation that being a fellow means you commit 1 hour a day or 5 hours in a week or something like that?
Yeah, for the boot camp, I think 2 hours per day would be a thing. And for the real life teaching scenario would be an hour per day as a fellow when you're teaching in a community center or a school.
And just to follow up on that, I'm sure the teaching experience will help improve the academic performance of the fellows themselves. But what sort of impact have you seen in the students who are learning from the fellows? Have you seen that there is some improvement in their academic performance as well?
I think the thing is that the role model, there is a lack of role models in the community. And when there is peer teaching that happens, I think overall they really want to become like their peers. There is a spark in attendance we can see. There's also increased awareness in education in the community itself. And thus the young learners are also getting engaged into their own learning, which was not the case before.
And any
Thanks,
resistance
Nosheen.
from parents?
So sorry to interrupt you, Prem. We just have time for one more question before we move on, just in the interest of time.
quick one. So, Nausheen, will the
Thank you.
fellows be placed in classrooms in their own schools or in other schools in the community?
We would like to start with their own school. Once they are well versed with their own school, we would also like to place them in different other schools. We would like to partner with different other learning centers and schools where we can place these fellows.
All right. Thank you so much, Nausheen. Thank you everyone for your questions. We're just moving to Nimisha now as the panelists record their responses. Thanks, Nausheen. Nimisha, you can maybe set up.
Hi, Amana. Is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, it's visible and you're audible. We'll just start in a few.
Okay.
Thanks, Samir. Just let us know when we're ready to go.
You can start.
Awesome. Over to you, Nimisha.
I'm just adjusting this. I hope my entire screen is visible.
It is.
Hey, it got cut out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, you can see it.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Go.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Nimisha. Picture this. You are in a courtroom where you see a weeping mother. On the other side, you see the father is weeping too. This is over a custody battle. At home, there's a confused child not having a say in her future and most likely wondering why she can't have cake for breakfast. This is one among many cases I saw as a lawyer. Not freedom for cake, but rather some very heinous crimes done by people who were once kids too, leading me to ask, how can we support those who have been hurt so that they don't hurt people? I realized that education holds the answer. But how do we ensure that children have the agency and the resources to lead positive change in themselves, their schools, and communities? I founded Advaita Holistic Learning to facilitate social emotional learning workshops. While these workshops raised awareness, we faced challenges: limited real-world application, scalability, and sustainability. We realized that guidance on action was key to fostering love for learning, student agency, and social impact. This led to Project Vritti, the social action wing of Advaita Holistic Learning. At Vritti, children from low-income communities are trained to ideate, launch, and lead social action projects in their schools and communities. We are piloting this in Hanabe Panchayat, rural Bangalore, across 2 schools involving 181 students from grades 8 to grade 10. Phase 1 will be piloted at Hanabe Government High School, while Phase 2 is with GK National Public School. Vritti's training program includes 16 modules. We have 4 live sessions and 12 pre-recorded ones, soon to be dubbed in Kannada, shown via projector in schools. Each school is assigned a group mentor for in-person implementation, and I will be mentoring both the schools in this pilot program. Additionally, we have 36 one-on-one mentors who will support 5 students each on a needs basis. By the end, students will launch projects, become peer mentors, and sustain the model within their school. The pilot aims to assess the effectiveness of this hybrid delivery and test the SAP peer mentorship model. If this is successful, we aim to scale this to 1 lakh plus students in Bangalore within 5 years. Meet Jyoti. Jyoti is a grade 10 student at Hanabe Government High School. Can you guess why she's crying? Feel free to drop your messages in the chat box. Jyoti cried after a focus group discussion because for the first time in a long time, she was asked what she thought and could freely share. She found the courage to ask me for a hug, and it was such a precious moment to witness. And that's what we want to create, spaces where children can express themselves, take ownership, and seek help personally or professionally, just like Jyoti did. The community has identified pressing issues such as inadequate infrastructure, domestic violence, and strained family relationships. While some issues require SEL and other social action, many need both. Through Vritti, students like Jyoti can crowdfund and draft letters to education officers for school bathrooms or address biomedical waste by partnering with NGOs for menstrual health and subsidized cloth pads. Research on adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs in short, show that children with 4 or more ACEs are 7 times more likely to become violent as adults. Many children in Hunter Bay face up to 7 adverse childhood experiences, highlighting the urgency for intervention. The Vritti training program offers not only SEL training for emotional empowerment, but fieldwork like needs assessments to build social awareness, practical skills such as design, fundraising, and running social action projects individually or in groups. During the program, students are likely to experience a need for witness attitude, the confidence of stepping into themselves, understanding their place in the larger world, and recognizing that teamwork makes the dream work. 6 months into each phase, we foresee that children will develop hands-on project management skills, lead social action with active self-direction, know how and where to seek help, just like Jyoti did, which is a very important one. And these students become mentors for future cohorts, ensuring the program's sustainability. This is highly relevant to their context because the impact of social action or the lack thereof is directly affecting the children and their communities. So far, we've conducted focus groups with 80 plus students, panchayat members, and education leaders. And we've developed 2 training modules and secured 5 partnerships for mentorship, for technology, and a community and project partner. We are currently focused on resource outreach, module development, and procurement, and will begin recording the modules in the 3rd week of October. Phase 1 will be piloted in November, followed by Phase 2 in December. For this, Vritti needs your support. We need rupees 1,20,000 to complete our project. Rupees 95,000 as fees for subject matter experts, translators, and dubbing artists. Being a recorded course, it is a one-time investment that can impact more than 1 lakh students. Rupees 25,000 for procurement and travel and website creation for these courses. We are also seeking support in improving our recorded courses, guidance on legal registrations, and advice on fundraising strategies. And we would also love support in a network, a mentor who can do weekly check-ins, connections with school and gazetted officers of education in Bangalore, and donors and investors. I'm certain each step in this journey of Project Vritti will remind every child that they can break free from this cycle of suffering, beginning with themselves, and contribute to a cycle of compassion, a compassion that is not helpless or powerless, but truly empowered. Thank you.
Thank you, Nimisha. Thank you so much. We're open for questions.
Nimisha, I'll go first. I think you sort of came at the right moment towards the end, because the social impact project to peer mentorship to SEL, I think you've integrated it very beautifully. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I see there is a lot of thought process and sort of saw the Gantt chart. It was good to see the implementation. My one question is, particularly because your target audience is low-income community schools, a student in a low-income community, pardon its generalization, but they have to create a huge balance between academics, the project you're offering them. Some of them are also livelihood contributors at home, or at least fill in for their parents when they go back home. How do you see it planning? How does it impact their own personal mental health and sort of overall scheme of things? Have you spoken to them? Have you shadowed them? Have you looked at this aspect?
Yes. So I have had a chance to visit the students at these schools. Like I mentioned, we've spoken to about 80 plus students, and we also tried an experiment, of helping them where they identified a problem that they wanted to solve, and we tried to brainstorm ways that we could go about that. And the beauty of this project is any challenge that comes up is an opportunity where it can be seen as, okay, so this is the goal, and I can strategically work towards that. So be it a weak mental health, be it pressures at home, all of it can be worked out for. So some of the examples that were given is, for instance, if if we have domestic violence at home, or unsupportive parents, what they can do is reach out to resource persons and mobilize parents and have sessions like that. So students take charge and take ownership, where it becomes exciting to solve a problem rather than feeling burdened or feeling affected negatively by something like this.
And we talked about 36 mentors. Who are these 36 mentors you've identified? Are they volunteers?
Yes. So at this point for this pilot project, they're going to be volunteers. We have collaborated with two organizations. One is Young Indians and the other is Global Shapers Bangalore, Hub 2. And in fact, Global Shapers Bangalore is also working on a mentorship initiative right now. So it kind of works quite well together. So that's where we'll be receiving our mentors from.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Nisha, can you tell me a little bit about the modules that you said that are a part of your program?
Yes. Yes. So so we will be starting with the social emotional learning for contextualization, after which we're going to move into community needs assessment and self needs assessment. So we're not only focusing on what we need, but we are also challenging ourselves, where the kids are challenging themselves to see how we can find solutions based on multiple needs that may be opposing in the community. And then they prioritize, they move on to design thinking, where they will have to figure out how to ideate, how to solve, what the different ways are to go about it. And since we have fundraising, which is an important one, they will also have to look into the feasibility aspect of it. So we're going to go into, our mission model canvas for planning. We're going to go into a log frame. So through fundraising skills and mobilization, they will finally be able to launch their project. So that is the sequence we are looking at. So we'll have 16 different modules between these 7 different areas of study.
Thanks a lot. I'm designing something similar for my school, so I'd love to chat later and also be a mentor if I can be one.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. I would love to reach out and I would love to collaborate.
Thank you,
Hi,
Nimisha. I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I don't have questions. I think Samir and
Okay, sure. So just a quick question. Could you give me a sense of what kind of projects students take up, and also do they are they able to see them through, or are they also cases of some scenarios where they're not able to complete it, and how do you deal with that?
Okay. So far we have not piloted the project yet. We've only done a needs assessment and an initial session with them to understand, how receptive they are to this and whether this is something that they actually want and are excited for. In the past, what I've done is social emotional learning sessions. And that's where I noticed that there was a bit of a gap, because it's although they've grown in social emotional learning, there was a lot of resistance both internally and externally when it came to applying social emotional learning in real life. So that's something I may have to share with you only later down the road once I test out this prototype. But what I do know is there's a whole range of problems that we spoke about, right? That students said that they have troubles with, that they have issues with. If it is something at home, the social action project doesn't have to be something huge that solves the waste management problem at home, waste management problem in the community. What they can do instead is set up a few weeks where they tell themselves, my mission for this week is to know how I can be a more empowered person at home while I'm navigating conflicts with my family. So it can range from something starting at home to something in school where students collaborate with their headmistress to bring in the bathroom, for instance, to their college, to their school, which is something that they haven't been able to do for many years because of some issues with the contractor. So yeah, I will let you know when I have better insights on this, sir.
Sure. Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, Nimisha. And with that, we've come to the end of the pitches. I realize that we might run a little bit over, maybe by 7:35. And I would request the panelists to send in their scores if they have to leave at 7:30 dot. Thank you so much for joining in and sending us your insights. I think this has been wonderful. While panelists put in their scores and Suhani tallies whatever has been going on in the response sheet, I want us to quickly look at a little bit about how all of this culminates into what we are trying to do as an organization. And to everyone who's present here, whether you're part of this cohort or the other cohort, I'd love to talk to you as well if you're interested in anything at the circle. And I'm just going to quickly take you through a quick presentation. Just give me a second.
I've also put out a poll on the group.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, is it possible to maybe put it after 5 minutes?
It's already up.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Okay. Okay. Very quickly, I think everything that we've seen in the pitch presentations today and everything that I talked about when it came to the starter program, what we were really trying to get at is that as an organization, we deeply believe that children, no matter where they're coming from or where they are starting from, they all have aspirations and dreams. And we believe that it is our responsibility to really create space and facilitate spaces for children, specifically in India, specifically in low-income communities, spaces that give them opportunity and choice. The way we try to get at this mission is to reinvent schools, programs, and teacher institutions that empower students from low-income communities to build an India free of poverty and filled with love. How we do this is a three-pronged model. We have the Circle Incubation, which is a 2-year program for entrepreneurs who are ready to dive in and create their own schools or after schools or learning models that will help children and really give them high opportunity, deep learning experiences, specifically for children coming from low-income contexts. We have the Circle Labs, which is what the starter program is a part of, where we conduct short-term programming for various stakeholders, teachers, young people who care about schools and the future of schools, school leaders, people who want to apply for grants to pilot something in their community. That's what the labs does. And the Circle U is a network of teacher colleges that hopes to nurture teaching talent and put the talent back into our institutions to create high quality teaching programs. I wanted to specifically talk about the Circle Incubation at this moment when we are wrapping up the starter program and wrapping up the pitch presentations, because a lot of our entrepreneurs who are interested in the incubation or who are doing something on their own out there, they are introduced to us from the starter program. So I thought this would be something interesting to introduce to all of you. As you know, it's one of our flagship programs. It's a 2-year full-time, fully funded program. Each year we select a cohort of about 10 to 12 entrepreneurs, and each year we launch 8 to 10 new programs across the country. Right now we have 30 programs India-wide. 18 new programs have already been launched, and there are multiple students that are impacted. We just welcomed our newest cohort in August. They are a fun bunch and they're doing such important work. And we know that all of you who are a part of starter program or not, you are interested in the idea of reinventing learning. And I'd be happy to talk to you about how the incubation fits into your picture. The incubation journey is designed in a way that it'll help you ideate, design, launch, and run your own school. Or after school, you get intensive support from the Circle Incubation team. There is exposure, there is mentorship, and there is funding support. If this interests you, I would highly recommend that you get in touch with me. We feel like this is the kind of efforts we need to create a movement around reinvention and creating a different future for schools in India. And yeah, with that, I think we are slowly coming to just looking at what the final scores are. And there is that poll on the WhatsApp group for anyone who is a cohort member and is on the WhatsApp group. Please put in your votes for the Peer's Choice title on the WhatsApp group, and we can close that in 30 seconds and have our responses there. And I'm just going to quickly look at the scores on the tallying sheet. And Samir, Prem, Carolyn, if there is anything that you want to say to everyone who presented or anyone who's a part of our cohort, we'd love to hear from you.
I'll go first, have another commitment. So sorry, 7:40 is my another commitment. So I think it's
Yeah.
great work, folks. Happy to support in your journey. I've also mentioned Nimesha. You want to reach out to educators in Bangalore, we'll be happy to support. But I think keep doing great work. It's just very inspiring. Shruti is here. Shruti was part of the first circle pitch. Shruti, are you here or you've left? I attended, and it's good to see you as a co-panelist this time. So thank you. Keep doing great work. Keep your aspirations high, dream big. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samir. Thank you so much for joining us. It means a lot. Prem, Carolyn, anything from you?
I mean, I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be here and to be listening to all of these inspiring folks. I think great ideas for us to be able to deliver quality education at scale. I think we just need innovation, and to see folks like you all really put in the thought and test your prototype, come in and present. I think it was wonderful to be here. On days like this, I go back feeling so much more energetic and wanting to do more and be more for this work. So I just have a lot of gratitude. Just want to wish you all the very best. I think whatever the outcome is, keep dreaming big, keep moving forward. And there's so much help out there. Like the network is ready to support. So leverage, leverage, leverage. And good luck, everybody.
So
thank you. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So everyone had very interesting ideas. I just want to congratulate you all on the hard work that you have done and on getting to this stage. And my advice to all of you would be keep at it. The entrepreneurial journey is not an easy one, but it is quite rewarding. I'm sure if you stick to it for a few more years, you will find some avenue of success. And if I could be of any assistance, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. My name is Atypical, so I'm sure it'll be easy to find.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for extending so much support to everyone present here. And we have a verdict. I think I'm going to start with when the panelists sent in their responses, they were also putting out who would be a great fit for titles of just most sustainable or most innovative. And everyone unanimously agreed that Cohort's project was most sustainable. So thank you, Cohort, for putting in all that effort. And it's so ironic that you got most sustainable for sustainability and agriculture initiative. So congratulations on that. Then in terms of the Peer's Choice title, I see that there is no clear winner because there seems to be a tie between many people. So nothing there, but thank you for supporting all your cohort members. And cumulatively in terms of all the scores and all the particular responses and remarks we've gotten, Rashad stands out as scoring the highest across all our parameters, which was around relevance, impact, and innovation. So congratulations, Rashad, for getting the highest scores. And yeah, that's about it. We'll be in touch with you with all the next steps for the grant. But thank you so much for engaging with us, and thank you so much for putting in so much effort for your pitches. And we'll be in touch with next steps, and I'll see you on the WhatsApp.